screen and we'll go right away. Right, so I'm starting. So good evening to all of my students today. I'm sorry I got a bit delayed because of something unforeseen came up. So I'm told by Mr. Balaji. I'm told by Mr. Balaji that there is a revision. So, but I don't know some of the things which I covered yesterday. So I have put on my earphones. I think I should be much more audible now.
Yes, lot better.
Yeah, okay. So this is the slides for chapter number 1. So we had covered chapter number 1. I think everybody has understood what chapter number 1 is. So let me go to straight away to chapter number 2. So I will start from the beginning. All right. Okay. Just one sec. Let me just adjust the screen a bit. Yeah.
Sir, your face need to be little up so that you're fully visible, because there are a lot of people on YouTube watching you.
Okay, fine. Yeah. Okay. So I'll take care about that also. So I'm just going over the topics which will be the learning objectives for today's session. Just one sec. I since I'm rushed in a hurry, I may be a bit. Yes. So yes. So let me go over what I will cover today. We'll talk about the built-in data types, and we'll talk about sequences. We'll talk about containers. We'll talk about mutability. We'll talk about typecasting. We'll talk about implicit and explicit typecasting, which I did cover a bit yesterday. We'll talk about how to give input to a Python script. We'll explain what are modules, what are packages. Then we'll talk about binary literals and booleans. So these are some of the things which I will cover today. All right, let's move straight ahead. So as I mentioned that there are what is called built-in data types. Now you see, whenever you write a computer program, whenever you're learning a computer language, you're going to be working with data. You're going to be working with text. You're going to be working with numbers. You're going to be working with tables. You're going to be working with so many different types of data. So at a broad level, the data type can be divided into 2 types. What is called built-in, and the other one, for want of a better word, let me call it user-defined. User-defined data type. I will explain this what it means later on, but for the present, just let us focus only upon what is this called built-in. A built-in data type means it is a type of data which exists in the Python library, and you don't have to import anything in the library to use it. So this is the thing. Now this built-in data type further consists of 2 types. So if I call that built-in is of 2 types. One is called simple and the other is called compound. Simple and compound. So let me just so built-in data type is of 2 types. One is simple and other is compound. Right? So these are the 2 types of this thing. Now so if you make a tree of the kind of data which exist in built-in data types, we talk about the built-in data types of Python. They are numbers. Numbers consist of integers, floating points, and complex. Integers are further consisting of boolean. So when I write boolean as a arrow from integer, it means that boolean is something which derives from integer. Rather, boolean is a subset of integer. I'll explain what it means. Then there is none. This is a special type of data. In Python, in C++, you will find a data type called null. So you can think of none as something similar to null in C++ or Java. I'll explain. Don't get worried. Then we'll talk about sequences. 3 types of sequences: strings, tuples, and list. We'll talk about sets and we'll talk about mappings. So these are the kind of data. I'll be talking about all these data types. And if you understand these data types, then you are well ahead in your learning of Python. So numbers, if you remember, numbers includes integers, floating point numbers, complexes, and bool, right? So integers, floating points, complex, and bool. Let me just show you an example of how this works. Just one sec. Let me come back to this thing, right? So let me use this. Let me say x is equal to, say, 21, and I write print type x. If I run it, I get class int. Let me just again make it a bit better. So what I've done here, I have written x is equal to 21. If you recall from your class yesterday, x equal to 21 basically means that x has been assigned a value of 21. And when I write print type x, remember, if I had written print x, it would have given me the value of x. But if I write print type of x, then it will not give me the type, the value of x, rather it will give me the kind of data which x contains, which here is int, as you can see here. So let me just now change this. Let me write this 21.0. Now let me run it again. So what do I get now? You can see I get class float, because the Python interpreter understands now that x has been given a value of 21.0. The interpreter understands that because of this decimal point, this number is not an integer, rather it is a floating point. So therefore, it has given this class, right? Let us try. Okay. Now let us write one more thing. Now in Python, there is a number called complex numbers. It is not very important, but it is of the, though for those who have done mathematics, it is of type 1 plus 7j. Now if you understand this complex numbers, let me just show it to you. Let me just run this first. So we are getting type complex. So this x is equal to 1 plus 7j. Now this 7j is the complex part and 1 is the real part. And this number 1 plus 7j is a complex number. And when I ask the compiler to print the type of x, it gives me class complex. So therefore, in Python, numbers like 1 plus 7j are complex numbers. Now just to give you a bit of idea, suppose I do this. Suppose I do this. What should I get as x? So let me write print x. Oh, there's an error. It should be 1j. So you see, you might have noticed why I got an error when I did not write the 1 before the j. Because in that case, the Python interpreter thinks that this j is a variable and this j is not defined. But when I write 1j, then the Python interpreter understands that 1j is a number which is actually equal to, you could have written it like this, 0 plus 1j. In fact, I should have written like this. Let me write like this. So I'm getting two, again, I'm multiplying two complex numbers. The first complex number is 1 plus 7j. So this is the first complex number, and this is the second complex number. So as you all know, 1 plus 7j, when it is multiplied by basically by j, so what you will get is equal to j plus 7jj. And as we all know, j into j is minus 1. So this will be minus 7 plus j, which you get minus 7 plus 1. I hope that is clear. So this is complex numbers. So let us go back to, we have done, I hope I've explained to you what are complex numbers. Let me come to bool. Now, bool is a type of data which is having two options, true or false. So bool is true or false. And I will just show you an example of bool. Wait, let me see. And then let's forget about this. Float we have done, complex we have done, bool. Now, this is Boolean values in Python are true or false. Now, I must tell you that most programming languages, in fact, I think all programming languages are what is called case sensitive. Case means what? Case means it can be uppercase, or it can be lowercase. So capital letter is called uppercase and small letters are called lowercase. So when I say Python is case sensitive, it means that A and A are two different things in Python. Similarly, B and capital B are two different things in Python. Similarly, TRUE true and capital TRUE true are also two different things in Python. Therefore, the bool true in Python is always a true with a capital T, and the bool false in Python is always a false with a capital F. So not true, not false. First letter must be capital. The Boolean type in Python is also called bool, not bool, or Boolean. Now you see again, I'm just saying. So this data type in Python is called bool. It is not called bool. It is not called Boolean. It is not called BOOLEAN. It is called BOOL, bool. It is important. This data type in Python is called small BOOL, and the two possibilities are true with a capital T and false with a capital F. Now let us just see some of these data types. We'll just do it. So let me just take you back to the yeah. So let us just I think let me just remove all these cells. Let me just remove them. They are causing a lot of confusion. Yeah, only one cell is left. So let me just write x equal to true. Let us run this. So I'm getting print x. So let me just show this on this thing. So what I did, I wrote x equal to true. That means x has been given a value of true. X is been given a value of true. And when I ask them to print x, it prints true. And when I ask the compiler of Python or the interpreter of Python to tell me the type of x, it tells me bool, which is kept small b double O L, right? Okay. So this is how it works in Python. In Python, there is a concept called Boolean context. Now, in Python, whenever you compare two things, you always use double equal to sign. Suppose I write suppose I write 7 equal to 6. Let me run this. false. So what has happened here? When I am asking the compiler to tell me that 7 is equal to, just listen to this carefully, 6. So what is happening? The output of this statement will convert into a Boolean. Rather, I should use small b bool. And since 7 is not equal to 6, the outcome is a false. That is why we get a false in the output. Now we'll be using this a lot in loops and in for statements. So wherever you have to compare things, we will be comparing things. Suppose I was to make this 7 into a 6. Now let me run it. It becomes true. So I hope this is clear. Even if it is not, don't worry. We'll become clear as things go forward, as we move forward. So let us, bool is clear. Now comes to string. Now let me just go over this PPT one by one. Strings in Python are sequence of characters enclosed by quotation marks. So when you want to tell the Python compiler that this particular piece of data is a string, what you have to do, you have to enclose that sequence of characters by quotation marks. You can use pairs of either single or double quotation marks in the beginning and end of the script of the string. So if you write A, B, C with double quotation both sides, this is a string. Python will understand. So basically, hota kya hai? The compiler needs to know what you want to do. And to tell the compiler what you want to do, you need to give it certain hints. So if you want the compiler to treat your data ABC as a string, then you put a quotation mark before the string and one after the string. And then the compiler will understand, okay, now you are trying to give me a string, right? Okay. A string is a sequence. You can use an index to access its individual character. This is a very important concept in Python, in fact, all programming languages. A string is a sequence of characters. So this is A, B, and C. So this particular string ABC has 3 characters, A, B, and C. This character is at the first place, is at index 0. This is the thing at second place, index 1. And this is a string as third place, it is index 2. Let me show you how this works on this thing, right? So let us do like this. Suppose I write x equal to, let me write A, B, C. Let me put some numbers also, 1, 2, and even a hash, even a percentage. So I can put anything in it, not a problem. So this is my thing. Let me print this particular string. When I run it, I get A, B, C. So if you can see this. So what I've done, I put x equal to, I put an opening single quotation mark, A, B, C, 1, 2, and a percentage mark closed by the quotation. So how many letters are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So there are 6 characters in my string. However, the index of this is 0, the index of this is 1, the index of this is 2, the index of this is 3, the index of this is 4, and the index of the percentage sign is 5. So this is a sequence because you can access the particular character in the string by using its index. I will just show you how it works, right? Now, suppose I write, now in Python, if you want to access the particular character of a string, you can do this by using the index of the character. You can do this by using the index of the character. Therefore, when I write x equal to A, B, C, 1, 2, percentage, close quotation. So I can access A by using an index of 0. And I can, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I can access the percentage by using a index of 5. And the way to do it is to enclose it in square brackets after the string. I will just show you how this works. So suppose I write print x 0. So when I do this, now let us see what happens. I will get a. That means when I'm using x, when I'm using x0, this has to be square brackets. You cannot use round brackets. You cannot use curly brackets. These are not allowed. You have to use square bracket and you have to put 0 or whatever index you want over here. So let me just change it. Let me change it to 5. Now let me run it again. I get percentage. Therefore, okay. Now let me do something different. Let me write, suppose I write y is equal to x square bracket, say 4. And I write print y. What should I get? So that means I will get, so y will contain that character of that string which is at index 4, which happens to be a 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. It should be a 2. Let us run it. I get a 2. If I put index 5, I will get a percentage, right? So print y will give you a percentage. I hope it is clear. But there's one more thing, Suppose I put a 6 over here. So there's a problem here. Now what is going to happen? Now x does not have an index of 6. Let us run this, we'll get an error. So it writes index error. Let me just show this error to you. So what I have done, let me repeat. I have put x as a string which contains 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 characters. And I have asked the compiler to print x6. So x6 does not exist. Therefore, the compiler has given me an error and the name of the index error. See, index error. String index out of range. The compiler is telling me that you are trying to do something which is not permitted because the string contains only 5 characters from 0 to 5, rather 6 characters from 0 to 5, and you are trying to access the 7th character by using x6. Remember, when I use x6, I'm actually trying to access the 7th character of the string, because when I use x0, then I'm actually accessing the first character of the string. I hope it is clear. So, but suppose I was to add let me add a hash over here. So now let me run this. So now I get a hash, right? So I hope this is clear. So index. So therefore, whenever you're writing a Python program, you need to be very, very careful that whenever you're trying to access the characters of a string, you should not go out of the range. Right.
Sir, I have a doubt one.
Yeah.
Sir, why the index or range is defined from 0 to n minus 1, not 1 to, sir, if defined from 1 to its length, then it would be more easier.
Yeah, okay. See, you are right. Certain programming languages start with 1, but Python starts from 0. The reason I can't tell you, I don't know the reason why it is like this, but that's the way it is.
Sir, might be it's an array.
It's an array.
Yeah. Array type हो सकता है जो कि built-in Python में है.
Right. Now suppose I write
0
print len x. I will get 7. So you see this function, I have not gone into function so far, but len is a function, len, and you can give a variable over here. Suppose I give len x say 0. Write print I'll get 1 because x equal to 0, x index 0 is A. Let me just show this to you. So let me just go over this. We have a string here, x, which is having 7 characters. So I asked first to print x, think it prints this character. Then I asked print len x, it prints 7. Then I asked print length x0, it prints a 1. Okay, right. Now there is one more thing in it. That is why a string is a sequence. Now there is one more thing in it. Let me just write this. Sorry. No, it is, let me just confirm how the thing is written. It is 0, 3.
It's a colon.
It's a colon, yeah, okay. I'm so sorry. 0 colon 3, yeah. So when I write, so this is what is happening is basically, let me just, yeah, okay. So when I write print x colon this thing, so basically what I am doing is I am giving it a range. The range, that means I'm asking the sentence to print a slice of the string.
Yes, very much
So when
audible.
I write x0, 3, and I suppose I write y is equal to x03. So what is happening? This string x will get sliced, and that slice will go into y. So, and what will that slice consist of? That slice will consist of the character at index 0, but it will not contain the character at index 3. Rather, it will contain the character at index 2. So it will contain A, which is at index 0, B, which is at index 1, and C only. Let us see. So if I write this thing, I get A, B, C. So this is quite clear. We get, so from this line, we are getting A, B, C. I hope this is clear, right? Now there is one more, variation to this. If you want, I can do is, let me write, right? Suppose I write this thing, colon 2. So this is basically the step. Let us just see what happens. Let me remove this particular line of this thing. And let me just print. So it is, no. Let me write, sorry. Let me just correct this. So let us discuss this thing. So I have done y is equal to x 0, 3, 2. This is what is called start. This is what is called stop. And this is what is called skip. So basically skip by 2. So it will print, so it will start from 0. It will end at 2. And it will skip by 2. Therefore, A and C. Therefore, the first has come and the last has come. B has been skipped, right? So I hope this is also clear. Let me just, so if I make it, let us just make it 6 here. And let us make it at 3 here. Let us run this. So I get 1 and a percentage because it is skipping by 2. So 1 and percentage. So therefore I am getting So you can see here that 3, that means 0, 1, 2, 3. I'm starting from 1. And I'm then ending up 6, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm ending at A. But I'm not including A. So it is, and we are skipping by 2, that is percentage. That is why 1 and percentage only has come. This is not very important for the beginner right now. You can skip it also. And just one last thing I want to tell you, that is, suppose I write Z, let me write Z is equal to say X minus 1. Let us see what happens. Print Z. So I am getting H. So therefore, let me just show this to you. So when I use a negative index in the string slice or index, it means the last character of the string. So when I printed Z equal to this, it printed H, which is the last character. Suppose I make it -2, it will be the last but 1. So that is why you can see here. So when I put Z equal to X minus 2 index, it will be the second character from the end, which is a G. That is where this has come. Balaji, is it clear so far? String. Balaji.
Sorry, sir. I've just unmuted myself. Yeah. I think it's perfectly all right, sir. We can continue.
We can
but before we continue,
yeah,
we can ask questions to boys and girls. Can
yes,
you put
please.
yourself in chat meeting? Whether you understood it correctly, or any questions are there, you can unmute yourself now. Okay.
Sir, I have a question. सर ये स्ट्रिंग टाइप का जो हमने दिया ना एक्स ब्रैकेट के अंदर 1 डाला और उसमें रेंज में कोई फर्क नहीं है आई थिंक सो 0 to colon 3 जो आपने पहला एग्जांपल बताया था उसमें और कॉलन के अंदर 3 लिखना तो सेम ही कैरेक्टर रिटर्न आता है इट शुड बी रेंज
सर आपको अनम्यूट करना पड़ेगा सॉरी You need to unmute. You are on mute, sir.
Yes. So I have not understood your question. The point is that here is a string called X. We are creating a slice of the string by using the square brackets. We have three options. We can give a single number, we can give 2 numbers, or we can give 3 numbers. If we give a single number like X1 or something, it will get the character at that particular index. And the second option, where we put 2 numbers, suppose we put X1, this is X1:3. Here we are using 2 numbers, 1 and 3 only. Here it will take the character at index 1, and it will also take the character from 1 to index 2, not 3. The third option is that when we put X, we use 3 numbers. Suppose we use 1, 5, and 2. So this is the start, this is the stop, and this is the skip. So this is what I have been telling now. If you can repeat the question, maybe.
Yeah, sir. Got it, sir. Thank you very much.
Understood. Okay.
Sir, I have a question. Sir, I have a question.
Yes, please.
Sir, you said string में जब हम skip करते हैं तो वो कितनी वैल्यू skip करता है इंडेक्स नंबर की? जैसे 3, 6, 2 है, 3 semicolon 6 semicolon 2, तो 2 कितना क्या represent करता है?
It will take the first thing, then the third, and the fifth, and the seventh, like that. It will take the item. Suppose we, in this case, if we take the printout here, let me just let me take it, make it 3. It will become better. Let us see what happens. So let me make this 8. So let me remove this to get the. So I'm getting, so now let us study this. Now, just let us study this, will make things clear. Now, X is equal to this particular string. Now index 3. Now y is equal to the a slice of this string which starts at index 3, which is 0, 1, 2, 3. That means A1. So 1 has come, fine.
Okay.
And it will go on till 7.
N minus
So
1.
0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It will go on till S, right? And it will jump by 2. So it will jump by 2 and thing it will jump and contain A. So it was A, B, C. Wait, it was. So it was A, B, C, 1, 2 percentage, A, S, D, F, G, G, H, right? So 3 is 0, 1, 2, 3. This is A1. So 1 has come, no
Yes, sir.
problem.
Yes, sir.
Then at index, this is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Eight.
This is 8th at 8. But this is not included. Only up till 7 is included.
Yes, sir.
Now from here, A, we jump to this. We jump 1, 2, 3. We have jumped 1,
Okay.
2, 3. Therefore, A has come.
Okay.
Right?
तो the skip वाला part is कि हमें start से कितना skip कितना jump करना
Correct.
है.
So here we are skipping by 3. So that is why we are getting 1 followed by an A, right?
Thank
There are more nuances to this. Like for example, all the 3 numbers can be positive, all the 3 numbers can be negative. But that's a bit complex. It is given in my book. You want to follow that up. It's not really very important for if you're focusing onto data science or straight away into maybe hacking and all. You just need to know the basics of Python. You don't need to go too much into details, but it can be quite detailed. So whenever you are studying source code of some file, maybe you need to know this. Let us move ahead. So I think.
Okay. Before we go to the next chapter, sir, we'll just do a small poll.
Chapter is not over yet. Chapter is not over yet.
Okay. We just wanted to launch one poll to ask how many people have done the Anaconda for 1 minute break.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Let me just. So I have explained this index. I have explained. You can. This is important. You can use the plus sign to concatenate the 2 strings. I had explained this to yesterday that operator overloading, basically the language, the compiler is so smart that when it sees say something like 1 plus 1, it gives an answer of 2. But when it sees something like A plus B, it gives an output of AB. So this is concatenation. So the plus operator in Python is smart. It can add numbers like normal algebra, and it can concatenate strings like adding like for example 2 and 1. If 2 and 1 were numbers, the output will be if it was 2 plus 1, the output will be 3. But it was string 2 plus string 1, the output will be 21. So this is what I was saying, concatenation. You can use the asterisk sign to multiply a string with a positive integer. Here multiplication means repetition. Let me show you how this happens. So let me write. Suppose I write this thing 2. So you have noticed that now let me just show this. Here, the multiplication sign is also operator overloading. Operator overloading. What does this mean? This means that this multiplication sign, on its left, it has a string x. On its right, it has a number, but it should be an integer 2. And this in Python means that x will be repeated twice. That is why this string A, B, this thing has been repeated twice. And from here, this is the first part, and this is the second part of the string. So you can see how smart this operator is. It is multiplying a string with a number, but you cannot use a floating point number. Suppose I write 2.0, I should get an error, right? So you can see type error. you cannot multiply sequence by non-int of the type float. So the compiler is complaining. It is saying that you are doing something which you should not be doing. You are trying to multiply x, which is a string, with a number which is a float. As long as you're using 2, I'm okay, I'll accept you. But if you try to do with 2.0, 2.1, 2.2 or whatever, I will not accept you. Because obviously, because in multiplication of a string by a number means repetition of the string that many times. So if you write 2.1, then what should it mean? It has no meaning. That is why this is not allowed. All right. So I hope that is clear. Let us move ahead. Okay, this I have understood. Okay, so let us move on to what is called lists. This is list is one of lists, and these are the very important data types of Python. If you have understood list, then see, let me first tell you something, that containers are data types, built-in data types in Python, which can contain other types of primitive data. There are basically two types of containers. One is a sequence, and the other may be called a collection. It may be called collection for want of a better word. There may be a better word, sequence and collection. So sequence are those containers in which the order of the data inside the container is important. But collections are those containers in which the order of the data is not important. I will give you examples of both. But first, as I said, a string is a sequence. Similarly, a list is also a sequence. Let us go to list, and then comes tuples. Now, tuples are also sequences. They are very similar to lists. It has a number of these things separated by commas. However, while lists are enclosed in square brackets, tuples are enclosed with parentheses. The elements of the list can be changed, so lists are mutable. However, the elements of a tuple cannot be changed, so tuples are immutable. I will explain the concept of mutable and immutable. For the moment, just accept that lists are mutable and tuples are not mutable. You can think of a tuple as a read-only list. So that covers tuple. I'll go to this, don't worry. Then comes dictionary. In fact, dictionary is one of the most important data structures which is used in Python and in many. Have you all heard of a concept called JSON? When you will be using this if you're doing programming, if you're writing scripts, when you're sending data from your browser to the server. The standard today is using JSON. And the reply also is this. This is called JavaScript. I think, I'm not too sure. JavaScript object notation. JavaScript object notation. Don't get too worried by the long name. It's something very, very simple. It is called what is known as, let me just try and explain this concept a bit to you people. Let me take a blank sheet. So, suppose I am a tailor, right? And I'm taking the measurement of your coat. So what I will do, I will write length equal to 5, breadth equal to say something 7, height, like that. So what I'm doing, I'm taking a key and I'm taking a value. I'm taking a variable and I'm taking a value for it, variable and its value. You can think of your X and Y graph also. If you have something like, suppose you have when X is equal, suppose you write Y is equal to say 2X plus 3. So what is happening when X is equal to 0? Y will be equal to 3. When X is equal to 1, Y is equal to 5, like that. So X is one variable and Y is the other variable. X can be plotted on this axis, Y can be plotted on this axis. But here, let me just clean up the slate. But when I write that L is equal to, suppose I'm a browser and I want to go to a server. But the server will not allow me till I send the username and the password. So what I can do, I can send it a data structure. I said username, say is equal to Anurag, which is my name. Password equal to something. Let me write, say, like suppose 567. This is my password. And then something else. So what I will do, now I as a browser, suppose I want to send this data to the server. How do I send? I can send it in the form of a dictionary. Now, what is this dictionary? If you see in your dictionary, what does it have? It has words and it has their meanings. So the words you can think of as the keys and the meanings you can think of as the values. So what maybe, so let me give an example. So maybe if I want to send this data to a server, what I can do is I can create a data structure, not this, like this, which is username colon Anurag, comma, password colon 345. Is it colon or semicolon? I've forgotten. I've been long. So this data I'm sending to the server. So server understands that username stands for the username and the password stands for the password. Server understands that the first data in that pair of data, there's a pair of data, username and the value, password and the value. So the server understands that username is the key and Anurag is the value. PWT or the password is the key and 345 is the value. So these are basically, these are key value pairs. Key value pairs. So JSON is this only. JSON kya hai? JSON is a data structure which contains keys, key 1, colon, value 1, comma, key 2, like that, enclosed in curly brackets. So this is your dictionary. And in certain circles in mathematics, this is also called a mapping. A mapping. Mapping means that it is mapping the username to Anurag and it is mapping the PWT to password to 567. So this is a technical word which is often used. So dictionaries, JSONs are mappings. I can try to because you guys may be into data. I'm not into hacking, but I'm into data science. So let me just give one more example. Suppose you have a table. I'm going a bit out of syllabus, but let me just do it. I want to do this. This is a table of a class of students. And here there are names. And suppose these are names, and then we write percentage, say in subject 1, let's call it physics. Percentage maybe in maths. Let's take two subjects. So first is Anne, suppose. She gets 75% in maths and 60% physics and 60% in math. Then we have maybe Bob. Bob has, say, 80% in physics and say something else in maths. So when I want to send this data, let me take only one. Let me take physics. Let's forget about maths. So when I want to send this data as a data structure to a server, I can write Anne colon 75, comma, Bob colon 80. So what I've done, I've converted this table into a flat data structure. I've converted this table into a JSON or into a dictionary, I've converted this thing into a key value pair. So for every row I've taken and for every value I've taken 75. Now you might ask me, suppose I wanted to create two subjects. I could have done an colon 75, 60. Then Bob colon, suppose it was 50 over here, 80, 50. So let me write the structure again. So what I've done, an colon 75, 60. Then Bob colon 80, 50. Now just look at this thing very carefully. Now this 75, 60 is one piece of data. It is a list. So first is a string and second is a list. Here string and a list, and this list contains two items. Balaji, this concept might, I don't know, is it clear to everybody? I want people to understand this. Balaji.
Yes, sir.
Boys and girls, can you just put yourself yes or no, or you want to repeat for this?
Yes, sir. It's okay.
Okay.
Perfect. Okay. Put your yes, or thumbs up. That's very important. Yes.
So let us go over what is the dictionary. It is an unordered key value pair. It is a container which contains other objects. You cannot access the items of a dictionary through an index, but you can access the item through the key. This is very important. You cannot, I will explain this, but यहाँ जैसे in a list and in a string, if you had suppose string x equal to 1, 2, 3, you could access the 1 by writing x 0. So you are accessing this 1 using the index of the 1. But if you have a dictionary, you cannot access the items of the dictionary using the index. I'll explain. So a dictionary has keys, and for each key there is a value which can be an object of any type. Like I showed you, the keys was the name of the children or the class students, and the value was, in the first time it was a number, in the second instance it was a list. So the value was a list. That means the value was a complex data type. It was not a simple data type, but a complex data type. Just like in function, you have y is equal to fx. Dictionaries are something similar. You can think of them as x as the key and y as their corresponding values. So I explained this also. Suppose you have y is equal to fx, then x is the key and y is the value. Right? Just like in maths functions, for one key there can only be one value, though the reverse need not be true. That is, this is very important. That means, let me just explain. If you have a graph, the graph can do like this. That means if you have, say, like this. So that means for this value of x, for this value of, suppose let's call it x1, x2, x3, x4. So all x1, x2, x3, and x4, the value of y is same. This is a perfectly legal, perfectly possible graph. However, in mathematics, you will generally not find a graph like this. That means for one value of x, there are 1, 2, 3 values of y. This is not permitted in mathematics. It is also not permitted in computer science in a dictionary. That means you can have this. But that means many keys. This axis contains the keys. This axis contains the values. For different keys, you can have the same value. But for the same key, you cannot have different values. So practically, that means what it means. That means you could have a dictionary like this. Suppose cat 1, dog 1. Like you could have this kind of a dictionary. But you cannot have something like this, cat 1, cat 2. You cannot be here because here different keys have the same values allowed. But here, same keys have different values not allowed. Why? Because you can access the values of the key, or values of the key, value of the sorry, you can access the value using the key. In a dictionary, if you remember, if you open a normal English dictionary, suppose you want to find the meaning of the word obnoxious, which means bad. So using the word obnoxious, you can find the word not very good or not very pleasant. But using the meaning, you cannot find the word. So using the key, you can find the value. But using the value, you cannot find the key. So similarly over here, if this kind of data structure was allowed in Python, and I'm asked to say this is equal to say X. And I'm asked to find the value X of cat. So compiler is confused. Why? Because it doesn't know cat stands for 1 or cat stands for 2. So it cannot, so therefore this kind of data structure is not allowed in Python. Balaji, this is also an important concept. If it is clear, we can move ahead. Balaji? I think Balaji is offline, so let us move ahead. A dictionary is a mapping between X and Y or between keys and its values. Dictionaries are enclosed in curly brackets and values can be assigned accessed using square brackets. The keys in this thing must be unique. The key value pair separated by colon. That is this thing. The keys of a dictionary must be immutable data types such as strings, numbers, or tuples. I'll explain this. Let us do some examples. Sorry, I made a mistake. I wrote this thing. So this is let us see this. I've created a small dictionary. It consists, it's the name of the variable. This dictionary is contained in a variable called X. It consists of 2 items. The first item is whose key is cat. The second item is whose key is dog. The cat has a value of good and the dog has a value of bad. So cat is a string, the key is a string, the value good is also a string. The dog is a string, the value bad is also a string. Now suppose I ask this print X cat. I get good. So you can see that using the key, let me just show this in a. So I've used the, see now you notice the syntax X cat. This is the same syntax as in strings and in lists. However, when I was using X and an index number, maybe 2 or 3. So I was using this syntax for strings, and that means for a sequence. If you're using a sequence, you need to give a number within the square brackets. But if you're using a dictionary, you need to give the key within the square brackets. Now, just to tell you, if I use the value good over here, it will throw an error. Because there is no key of the value good. So I hope it is clear that the key value pair, you can access the key. Now, let me give you another example. Suppose I write 5:7. I can do this. So there are three keys: cat, good, and 5. And there are three values: cat, dog, and 5, good, bad, and 7. So let me just see. Suppose I write print 5. Let me see what happens. 7. So when I write print x, when I write print x 5, the Python compiler is smart enough to understand that this 5 does not refer to the index, because x is not a sequence. X is a dictionary. So this 5 refers to the key of a particular item within this, and that 5 has a value of 7, so it is giving a value of 7. I hope this is clear. So I think we can move ahead with the presentation.
Sir, I have a query.
Yeah, please.
Sir, how can I retrieve the key from this of the dictionary?
Key of the value.
No, I reverse. I want just only the key. If there is 100 of key value pairs in a file, so
Right.
I want only the key in 100 position. So how can get retrieved?
No, you can't.
Okay.
Because I'll tell you why. Because for that I'll have to because that is the way this language is designed. Suppose let me just do this. Let me just write it again. Let me put y, and let me put this 5 and 7. Just I'm trying to tell you something. Let me just show this. Right? Let me say y. So what have I done? I have created, let me just show this to you. So I have created two dictionaries. The first is the cat. It has cat, dog, and 5. The second dictionary has cat, 5, and dog. But these two dictionaries are identical because the order of the keys inside the data structure does not matter. For Python, X and Y are the same. I don't remember the there's a comparison function I'm not able to write, but let us print y. Let us see what it gives. Right. There is a function in Python where you can compare. Let me write print x. No, that's very important. See, now this is what I wanted to show. Now you can see over here. Let me just run it again. So let me just remove this also. So what is happening? Let me. I have two dictionaries. The first dictionary, the order is cat, dog, 5. The order of the keys is cat. This is key number 1. Dog is key number 2, and 5 is key number 3. Right? In Y, the cat is key number 1, or rather key of cat. 5 is key number 2, and dog is key number 3. Right? So technically, if I had something like an index, like I have in a sequence in this case, then X and Y cannot be same. But when I compare them, so I get, if is X equal to Y, I get a value of true. That means Python treats X and Y as equal. That means the order of the key value pairs is not important. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, sir.
Right? So you cannot use X, you cannot use something like X0 or X1 or X2 in a dictionary, because a dictionary is not a sequence. These cat, dog, and 5 can occur in any combination. They don't have to follow any particular order. So the cat can come before the dog, it can come after the dog, it can come after the 5. I hope that is clear, right? Let's move ahead. So, okay. Then there is another data set called sets. Set contains an unordered collection of immutable and unique objects. Sets, unlike lists or tuples, cannot have multiple occurrences of the same elements. A set is a collection, a set is unordered. Elements must be unique. This is best understood by an example. Let me just show this. So, in sets, we use round brackets. So suppose I write 2, 3, 4, 4. Let me write print X. No. It is set is. No, wait. I'm just getting a bit confused. Let me just. Just give me a second. I'll just refer to my book sets. Just give me a second, please. Right. It is curly brackets. I'm so sorry. It is curly brackets. It is. This is not. This is a tuple. So this. Yes. Now let me do it. So what has happened here? Let me just show you. I made, so in set, I am using curly brackets. So let me repeat, in list, we use square brackets. In tuple, we use round brackets. In dictionaries, we use curly brackets, but with key value pair. And in sets, also we use curly brackets. So this is a bit, if you do it very regularly, I'm sure you will be able to remember it, because many times I don't use it, so maybe that's why I forget. So what has happened over here? Let us do this again. I wrote X equal to 2, 3, 4, 4. So what did the compiler do? It saw that this 4 is a repetition. So it dropped the 4, it kept only these 3 items. So a set can only contain unique items. It cannot contain repetitions. Another thing is that, now suppose I write y equal to, right, let's say 3, 4, 2. Now let us write print X equal to y. So what is happening? Let us run this through. Just see this. What has happened here is that y is containing the same numbers as x. It is containing a 3, it is containing a 4, it is containing a 2, but in different order. So since set is also a container, it is not a sequence like strings and lists. So here also the order does not matter. I hope this is clear. So we have covered the basic data types. Balaji, are you with me so far?
Yes, sir. Very much there.
Okay.
Very much
So
there, sir.
There are some other topics like, explicit versus implicit typecasting and narrow and wide types. I will skip this because, and this I will skip. Let me just let me skip this. Let me come to an important concept of modules, packages, and libraries. A module is simply a file with a .py extension in which you may put a script or a code. I was just, before you started your class, I was just, trying to, no, not this one. Now let me okay, let me just try to explain this concept a bit. This is the what is called the command prompt. So in command prompt, you need to understand command prompt. People who have never used Linux, who have never used MS-DOS in the olden times when we were studying in the engineering colleges, they have never heard of the command prompt. They are so used to using double click on Windows that they forget, right? But there is a thing called a command prompt. Let me tell you how it works. So if you type on the start button and you type CMD over here, you will get this kind of a thing called a command prompt. So this is a command prompt in Python in Windows machine. So it is having this kind of a beginning and it is followed by a lixing. In front of that, you can type a command and that command can run. For example, and if you have the Python interpreter installed on your machine, you can then use the, for example, let me say Python, 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 wait, Python temp1. Now, before I go into this, let me just temp1.py. And I get an output of XY. That means let this temp1.py, this temp1.py, this is a Python file which I have created. This file is in the folder Python related /spider. Let me open this and show you this file. So let me go to my this thing, and this is my PC. Just let me show you. So this is the folder Python related spider, and in which I've created a file called temp1.py, right? Now let me just open this file. Let me just open this file using Notepad++. So you can forget about this line. It is having one simple line print. Let me just show this. It is having print x plus y. So basically it should print xy. So this is a file. This is a file which is named temp1.py. Now suppose I want to run this file, I want to execute this file. Now this file has an extension of .py. This file has an extension of top.py, and this file is existing in a folder called Python this thing, right? So what I can do is I can go to my command prompt, which I went over here. Oh, not this one. Did one, and what I did, I'll do it again. I did Python temp temp1.py. And I got an output of, just let me show you. This is the command I typed, Python temp1.py, and I got the output of xy. So this is a bit, now this Python command will only run like this if this Python binaries, if the Python binary or the Python executables are in your path variable. If the Python, otherwise, if you don't have the Python installed in the path variable, if you do like this, then it will say, okay, command not understood, something like that. It will not execute. And this temp1.py will be executed only if it is in the current directory. Now, this is the path to the directory where I'm executing this thing. So now let me show you. Suppose I do cd. So I have gone. Balaji, am I? Is this making sense to you, Balaji? Because this might be a bit out of syllabus. Balaji. Balaji. Okay. So what I have done is I have gone up one folder. So if I write now, if I write now Python, I will get an error. Can't open the file because temp1.py does not know that. Why it has thrown error? Because temp1.py does not exist in Python related folder. It exists in Spider folder. That is why when I went into the Spider folder and I did Python temp1.py, it was executed. But when I went up by one folder by using the change directory command cd ... I moved from Spider folder into the Python related folder. And this file temp1.py does not exist in the Python related folder. Rather, it exists in the Spider folder. That is why when I type this command Python temp1.py, the program said cannot open file this thing. It was unable to execute the command. So what is the way around to this? The way around to this is that you just one second, I'm giving you. Okay. So when I type Python, now let's see this. When I said Python followed by this, what is this? This is the absolute path. Absolute path to this file temp1.py. The absolute path has to be enclosed in quotations. It is containing the name of the drive C. It is containing the parent folder Python related. It is containing the child folder Spider, and it containing the temp1.py. So if you want to execute a particular .py file on the Python command prompt or on the command prompt, then you have two options. First option is you go into that folder and then you simply type the Python word followed by Python on the command prompt, which is this like this, Python followed by the name of the file. However, if you are not in that particular folder where that file exists, then you write Python followed by the absolute path name to that file. Because the command prompt should be able to locate this file. I think I'll stop here for a minute to ask questions because I'm a bit worried that this may not be very clear. So let me just stop here and let me ask: have you guys understood this concept? Yes or no? Balaji,
Yeah, I'm there. Yeah.
so I think you need to tell me whether you have been able to understand this particular point. Yes or no?
Boys and girls, you need to type yes or no, okay? You want to repeat it, it can be repeated.
Elish, I'm just calling in 10 minutes. 10 minutes, okay? Yeah. So,
It's perfect, sir.
Okay, fine.
Most of the people.
so coming back
yes.
into modules, packages, and libraries. So, a module is simply a file with a .py extension in which you may put your script. A package is a directory of Python modules. We'll understand. Library is this thing. Library. These are all interchangeable terms: modules, packages, and libraries. The important thing is a module has a .py extension. All right. So that is there to it. Let us move ahead. So this much I have covered, Balaji. So shall we stop here or shall we move ahead? Balaji, do you want me to go to chapter 3?
No, sir, I think you should break here.